Hey Bellas, and maybe even some fellas, I don't know, but I am here with my amazing, beautiful, phenomenal friend, Daniella Bloom, in her beautiful home, as you guys can see. I'm honestly so honored to be here. Daniella Bloom is a psychotherapist, a transformational coach and speaker, and she was recently recognized as LA's premier divorcee success coach and dating expert. It is my honor, like seriously my honor, to be here sharing this space with her.
I just finished filming my own Facebook Live. Hi, gorgeous!
So I am here with the beautiful Daniella Bloom. Oh my God, you have no idea how happy I am to be here with you.
I am so happy you are here with me.
Seriously, we were talking about it. We were like, when are you coming? When are you coming? I was supposed to come when? A few months ago. A few months ago, and it didn't happen. But I'm here now, and we've got some amazing news to share with the Bellas. Even if the fellas are tuned into this video, the news isn't for you guys unless you're treating your wife or your partner out to come to LA. But we are live from LA, just so you know. This is LA. We're shooting in her beautiful home here in LA. So Daniella, where do I start? So yeah, seriously, I know that when we were chatting a bit outside about our upcoming, we'll announce it in a bit. You said this, it was almost like a quote. It was so beautiful. We were thinking about the name to this surprise that we're doing, and I said, well, how about create a life you love? And you said,
yeah, I said it's a great title, but it's not specific enough.
yeah, and you said it was used a lot.
It was used a lot, and it was just too over-encompassing.
Yes.
Especially since we're catering to the ladies. So I said, well, let's add my tagline to your tagline, and then Bloom, magic happened.
Yeah.
I meant to say boom, but I said Bloom.
You said Bloom!
There we go, subliminal. Yeah, so our new tagline for our upcoming surprise, which we're going to share with you in a minute, is called It's Never Too Late to Bloom Where You're Planted and Create the Life You Love.
Hello. That's her tagline and my tagline.
Yeah.
That, amazing.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
And it's this Canada and California.
Seriously.
International magic happening, people.
Magic.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I have to ask.
Yeah.
I mean, I know everything that you do. I know what you're doing. I know who you're being in this world. I know how much you're contributing to the healing of this world.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Especially where women, divorcees and women who are obviously on this healing journey trying to figure it out. I know what you're doing in your home. All the magic that you're literally creating in your home with these women in your meetups, in your workshops, in your retreats. It's amazing. It just makes me smile from within. I just absolutely love and respect what you're doing here. And I have to ask, just so that our viewers can really, get an understanding of who you are and where you're coming from. What inspired this? How did you get here? I mean, I know that your background, you're a psychotherapist, but share with us a bit, how you got here.
Yeah, well, thank you for all of that. And it is, I'm very passionate about the work I feel like I'm divinely inspired to do. And with everyone online and connecting, there is a lost art of connection in person. So the groups, the men's groups, the women's groups, the workshops in my home, there's nothing more special than to provide a community and a foundation for people where it's never too late to bloom where you're planted. How I got to this point in my life, based on what you just asked me, I thought I did everything right. I thought I did everything I was supposed to. And I, as the first child, I was the responsible child. I had good grades. I got a great education. I got my respectable degree in clinical psychology to become a psychotherapist, which I would know that I would use as a part-time career so I could be a mom. And I wanted to marry a guy with a great, safe profession, have the house in the suburbs, and have the 2.5 kids. And I manifested all of that. You know, I did. Actually, I have 3 kids.
Yeah.
2 girls and a boy. I mean, so lucky. And in my mid-30s, I'm like, I have all my goals. Why am I not so satisfied? Fulfilled. And it's a phenomenon that is going around today. In America, 70% of divorces are filed by women, and 90% of those women have 4-year college degrees. And if you ask many of the men in those same relationships, what do you think's been going on? Research says, for the most part, men are like, I thought everything was okay.
Oh my goodness.
So there is
so
a
true.
disconnect happening, because I think women want to be more than just wives and mothers, which is, I understand, a huge feat in itself. But today, with the Pandora's box of empowerment opening, we want to make an impact. We want to make our mark. We want to inspire. There's a reason why multi-level marketing has exploded, because women still want to be moms, but they want to make their own money. They want to just contribute. And it can really upset a marriage, a traditional marriage dynamic, when for the most part, men are like, what's changed? I'm going to work. I'm not cheating on you. What are you bitching about?
Whoa.
You know? So whether you're single, married, or divorced, being married for 16 years, working as a psychotherapist for decades, I really have my pulse on today's modern day relationship. And people are really shy, especially in California, of being direct. And people are craving direct, honest feedback today, because there's a reason why millennials are not getting married. They don't have the greatest role models. So being in a marriage where many of the years were very healthy, and many of the years in the end were not, there is so much real content and wisdom for me to pull from. Not to mention being a psychotherapist, working with clients on a regular basis too. But I really want men and women, especially women, to have this information now, because sometimes it's very easy to just blame it on a dysfunctional relationship, when there's so much more that we have within our realm of control. And getting back into our feminine power, getting back into what makes us alive and makes us want to discover and play and explore again, all within our control. So I wish I had this information years ago. I don't know if it would have changed my circumstances, but it certainly would have made me a much happier human being. And I do believe with the divorce epidemic, it affects every single person in our country. Whether you yourself have been through it, you have a sister, you have a brother, your parents, there's not one person who's not touched by divorce today. So we really need to normalize the conversation. And just because you leave a toxic relationship does not mean the pieces come back together. You still got to do the work. And that's why what we're doing together is so important and so timely. And it speaks to any woman at any part of their journey.
I love that. Oh my God, the fact that you're saying, you know, just because you leave a toxic relationship doesn't mean that you stop working to put the pieces back together. That is so huge, what you just said. So, and it actually kind of leads to my next question, which I wanted to ask you. In your opinion, like when you really look within yourself, what do you find has changed within? Well, first of all, we didn't share that part, how you got, because you're divorced, or
I like to say, you get on the marriage platform, you step off the marriage platform. It's a nicer way. Divorce is such an ugly word.
I like it. Is such an ugly word. Can we change that word?
Although divorcee is sexy.
I like divorcee. Okay. Yes, I'm a divorcee.
Yes,
but what would you say in your opinion, like when you look within yourself and you think of like everything that you have gone through in terms of growth, all the breakthroughs, the milestones, what would you say is the one thing that has transformed, and I don't like the word changed, has transformed since, so you think of the Daniella married, and the Daniella now on her own, rediscovering her voice and her calling and her purpose. What has been the biggest thing that has been like, whoa, like, I didn't know this about myself when I was married. I didn't see.
Yes. Hands down, it's getting back into my receiving mode, the energy of receiving. I have a whole video on this called The Manifestation Foundation about the 7 key components to getting back into the energy of the feminine, which include being able to receive. It's a muscle. To even to receive a compliment.
It's giving me like asthma just thinking about it.
It is a muscle that needs consistent strengthening. We are in this multitasking world where we are just spread so thin. We have our phones, our computers, always something to do for our kids, for our jobs, for our spouses, for everything, for our clients, for our careers, that receiving has translated into like a piece of chocolate and a reality show at the end of the evening. And we can do so much better. Even if we go and get our nails done or a massage, that's not bad. But it's the self-talk saying, what else I could be doing this hour? Are you really present?
Oh my
Can you
gosh.
really receive? So learning the energy of the feminine, bringing it back into my life, the creativity, the spontaneity, the vulnerability, to be able to say, I surrender. What do you want me to do?
That's huge.
It's huge for a woman today who has Google and who's multitasking to say, I don't know. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go and let God. Huge things. It's shifted my life in every area.
Wow.
And this is what we're going to be doing when we reveal.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, when you say every area, what was the main thing?
Okay, well, this is my favorite subject, if you insist.
Yeah.
So I got married really young. I never really had much experience dating because I was so focused on getting married so young. That's when my life would start. I really just was dating men that met so many criteria. I like to say I didn't date in my early 20s. I screened. Now that I'm 40, now 41, to be able to date for the first time ever in my life, but making my own rules, because I'm not looking for marriage and children. I'm completely in my power as a woman. And the experiences I've had have been so healing, so rewarding, so fun that I'm writing a book about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you have literally discovered complete liberation, freedom, in terms of, I would say what that translates to me is who you're showing up as a woman. Like, really, you know who you are. You know what you have. You know what you... I mean, I don't like, it's kind of cliche, the whole what you have to bring to the table. It sounds a little whatever, but that was your first boyfriend. You knew nothing. Like, literally.
I had a high school boyfriend and then my husband.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of women in my situation where they have this dormant part of their sensuality because they've never had a chance to experience who they really are. I'm actually much more comfortable in my skin at 40 plus with 3 kids than I ever was in my 20s. Ever. And listen, men notice.
Of course they do.
Men notice because the number one quality that the men find most attractive in a woman may surprise you. It's the ability to inspire a man to feel the most alive.
Let's confirm that. Kino, true or false? True.
Because when you are the most alive, when you're enjoying your food, just enjoying your body, enjoying your environment, you're beckoning men to step into their masculine energy and be that man because you've inspired them, and it's like a moth to a flame. And so the more comfortable you are in your skin, and it doesn't matter what shape, what size, how old, how young you are.
It doesn't matter.
It's getting grounded in your sensuality, no matter where you're at in life, and it shows up for you.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so real.
You know what's the best part? When you break your own rules.
Okay, can we talk about that? I was just discussing this with a friend of mine, with someone just the other day. Just how many rules that we bring into our relationships, and
because we're good girls.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And can we talk about that? Because let me tell you, like, I just posted something. I think it was while I was out here in LA. I did this post where I said, you know, we go about life, especially as women. I'm going to speak to the woman right now, thinking that we have a certain type of man.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be this height. He's got to be this size.
So silly.
Oh my! But did you ever think?
Oh,
like
in my
that?
20s.
Yeah, exactly.
In my 20s,
but there are women in their 40s still thinking like that. It's like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, my specialty as a dating expert is I work a lot with single people too who've never been married. And knowing what I know now going through a marriage, you need to put focus on really where it counts. Because the height is not as a big a deal as the worldview, okay? I mean, if you believe in God and you have a spirituality to you, and you date a staunch atheist, it's going to be a problem, because when life throws its curveballs, as it inevitably does, if one person is like, things happen for you, not to you, and one person is like, things happen to you, not for you, it's going to be very hard to come together.
Yes.
So you have to put weight on the things that really do matter, because relationships are moving entities, and the only way they can survive long term is if they constantly are adapting, growing, and being nurtured. And if you have big stumbling blocks right at the beginning, marriage is hard enough. So you want to pay attention to those things. The other thing I say too, I won't give all my secrets away, but if you are dating, really pay attention to the man's relationship with his mother. And for men, pay attention to the woman's relationship with the father. Because it's going to come out, people.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to come out.
No, Danielle.
Yes.
Oh my God. We could literally sit here and talk about that all day.
Yes.
How it comes out.
It comes out. There's a quote in my field where we say, we marry our unfinished business. So, ...
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful. And back to what you were saying.
Yeah.
The rules.
Yeah, breaking our own rules.
Breaking our own rules, because I honestly believe that we either have too many rules or none at all. There's almost like no in between. There's like and all the rules that we do have, you know, I mean, I'm reading for like the 4th or 5th time right now, one of the books in the 4 Agreements on love.
Yeah. I'll check it out.
The rules that we put on love by Ruiz, what's his name? I think he's Brazilian, I'm not sure, but anyway, the rules that we put on love.
Miguel Ruiz or something?
Yes, Miguel Ruiz, yeah.
Okay.
Him, and amazing book. Like, it actually, I'll be honest, like, reading it for the first time and second was painful.
Really?
It was painful, almost to a point where I felt like I was rebelling against it. I felt like there was this part of me that was saying, no, I'm not gonna love you even if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing to make me happy. Like, it was painful.
You know, again, it's not easy to love unconditionally. I don't think many people can.
It's the hardest thing ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, you know, it's something to strive to, but it also is not something that should unfairly put on ourselves.
No,
because if we're dealing with a spouse who has addictive issues or this and that, it is, you know, there is a line between unconditional, and when to set your boundary.
Yes.
And I don't want that to be misconstrued. Like, I didn't love him enough, because a lot of codependents who find themselves in high conflict relationships will do just that.
Yes.
They will take it on themselves. Well, if only I loved him better, then maybe he wouldn't have to do A, B, and C.
Yes.
So we got to be careful of that.
That's a big thing. Yeah, I think where it became painful for me was the rules thing.
Yeah.
It breaks down the kind of rules that we put in.
Yeah.
You know,
maybe we'll have that as one of our reading books before people come.
My. Okay,
Yeah.
so the main message of the book, by the way, for all of you who have read it, is self-love.
All roads lead back to self-love.
It really does.
It
and
does.
That's why it was
everything comes back
yes.
to self-love.
It is.
Everything.
We actually should have that as one of the for sure, because it's taught me so much. Even this time reading it, I actually brought it with me.
Mm-hmm.
That reading it this time around, I'm getting so much more of it or of the message than I did 2 years ago the last time I read it.
I love it. And you know, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Another Brazilian author whose book I read different stages of my life that does the same, The Alchemist.
Oh,
I mean, Paulo Coelho.
I think every human being needs to read that book. It should be a rule.
It's
It's
like
the
a
law of
fable,
attraction,
but
in
it's
that
scripture.
one.
It's like everything's in
it
there.
It is scripture, yes, it is.
Yeah, and depending, I read it first in college, and then when I became a mom, and then now stepping off the marriage platform, totally different book, but the same book. And you see different things, you pay attention to different things.
Yeah.
It's the most beautiful fable if you haven't read it.
It is. Didn't it remind you of the law of attraction a bit? Because it did for me.
Not so much. I read it before Law of Attraction became mainstream, before The Secret came out, so I didn't really associate it.
Sorry, the Law of Attraction reminded me of that book a bit. Yeah.
You like the Law of Attraction?
Yeah.
Like the book with Esther Hicks?
It reminded me of The Alchemist.
Well, it's all the same stuff.
Message.
It's
You're right. Biblical.
We all come from the same God, people. It's gonna overlap.
My pastor says really like if you want to read any great book, read the Bible. Yeah. It's all in there. It comes from there.
Yeah.
So this leads to my next question
Sure.
that I have for you, because I know it's been a big journey for you.
Yeah.
Forgiveness.
Yeah, that's forgiveness is very interesting. You know, in Judaism, unlike Christianity, please correct me if I'm wrong.
There's no such thing. Let me just say that.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Because I was a religious studies major. I love all things religion because I feel like we all come from the same God, but we're coming with different flavors.
Yeah, but I'm so beyond all that. Like I'm all about spirituality.
Yeah.
Like really, like religions. There's how many different denominations of religions. Like it's really just spirituality.
It is, and actually, the root of religion from Latin means to rebind oneself to God. It all comes back to that. Everything we do in our life is bringing us closer to God or further away from God.
Ooh.
Even our relationships. That's how we are evolving as a person. So, but what in Judaism, we don't just give forgiveness. People have to come and ask for it. There is a responsibility. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just not a given.
Wow.
Yeah, but at the same time, you don't forgive the person. But you were able to separate it so you can move forward, because if you're holding on to anger, it hurts you.
Yes.
So you can let go of the anger, and you can so you can move on, but you don't have to forgive the person if they're not asking for forgiveness. Yeah, it's totally different. I know. In fact,
that is different from the Bible.
Yeah, it's different from the Bible, and also the flip side is. If someone asks you for forgiveness and they ask you 3 times and you deny them, it's on them. You are absolved. But you have to ask 3 times. Our most sacred holiday is Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. So leading up to that Day of Atonement is the time you're supposed to go around and ask for forgiveness if you've offended or hurt anyone. And then it's all there. So it's just a different approach. But you're probably asking me personally about forgiveness. So I'll just give you this little.
Yeah, because I know it's been. But thanks for sharing that. That's huge.
Yeah. So no, my ex has never asked for forgiveness. So I
was gonna say, did he ask? Because
No. I mean, I think as someone who is a psychotherapist who believes in transformation, it would be amazing
to hear
for him to call me and say, let's have an honest conversation where we both can take responsibility and evolve. And I feel like that's why I don't feel like adultery is necessarily to end a relationship, because it just means it could be the death of the current relationship and a birth of a much, much stronger one, because there's always room for evolution. Yeah, for
You're
sure.
dropping some gems here.
Yes. So I mean, and I'm all about that. It takes 2 to tango in every dynamic, but if one wants to tango and the other one wants to stand there, there's not much you can do. So one of my lessons personally, which a lot of women had to learn as well, is how much is truly in your control, because you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. And in the meantime, you're standing there dehydrated, really wanting the horse to drink, and you're just, if the horse would just freaking drink the water, yes, then we'll all be okay. I can drink the water, you can drink the water, we all can drink the water. But the energy we spend on getting the horse to drink the water, in the meantime we're becoming emaciated, we need that perspective back, you know? So in terms of forgiveness, ideally one of my wishes would be to have that amazing heart-to-heart conversation with my ex. We did share 16 years together. We have 3 beautiful children together. We are continuing to be in each other's lives because of these children. The best thing we can do for them is be on the same page and show them that there's still an opportunity for mutual respect. That's not in my control. And I've had to forgive myself for not being able to achieve that.
Over and over and over and over again.
It is something that you do have to keep choosing. Yeah. This is going deep. It's almost making me emotional.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's a big deal though, because it's
it's
a very common thing.
It is.
Yeah.
I remember I was watching one of Oprah's shows. One I can't remember what it was about. I do believe it was on the power of forgiveness, and she said something that was so profound, Daniella, and it's stuck with me ever since. She said, "There are people in your life that you will have to forgive over and over and over again, and probably literally for as long as you live, as long as you're here on earth." And she said, and reason being is you probably have a child with that person.
Yeah.
You have some type of family, blood related, but that person's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Wow.
And it was so powerful. And she said, I actually broke down, because I feel the same about my mom, about my dad, more so that those two in particular. And I just thought wow, just when I thought, and even my former husband, I've had to forgive him over and over and over again. Just when I think, or just when I thought that we were at our breakthrough, we were we're there. Yeah. Oh my God, we're getting along, and we're besties. Besties. But, and then boom, something happens tomorrow, or something upsets me. Or another thing that I have found, and I know I'm going to ask you this because you can probably relate to this. He'll say something or do something that'll trigger something I thought I had forgiven him on.
Or your test.
Yes. Yeah. Or something that was an issue when we were together. Yeah. And all of a sudden it's oh no, you're not going to pull that one over me. Yeah. Oh no, this is how it's going to go. I find that it just comes up. And
that's just it. It's really not about them. Yeah. It's the test for us. Yeah. I mean, I can relate to that. I think what trips me up is when he even will text me and say things like, "May I?" or "Thank you." I'm like, oh, he's transforming!
Oh,
it's happening! It's happening! Eureka! Oh, glorious day! And then, no.
The next day, it's what just happened? What just happened? What was that? Am I missing something?
And that's just it. You let yourself get carried away with the romance of he's evolved. And then you're like, no, he just needed something and was nicer.
Yeah. OMG.
And so that's the letdown. That's our own expectation. So it's just coming in with working on being unattached without expectation is another muscle to strengthen.
Working on being unattached without an expectation.
Unattached to outcome.
Outcome. Yeah. That's in the book.
Yeah. Well,
that exact message is in the book.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's in the book. Wow.
Yeah. And that's hard, because if you're a people pleaser, you want to see people's reactions. You want to please them. So to turn that off and say, I'm going to do this because this is my truth, and you can love it and appreciate it or not, but it's still what I'm doing, is a muscle. Not
It
looking
is a
for that
muscle.
external approval, external validation. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
That's the muscle.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do we exercise that muscle?
I mean,
For our viewers, our
Yeah.
fellas who are...
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
what we're going to go into on our
Yes,
weekend.
we can talk about it now.
Yeah, stuff we've alluded to a couple times. But it is, first of all, it's being aware of it. It's catching yourself even doing it. Where are you losing your power? Where are you becoming small? Where are you becoming that little girl who wants approval? It starts with the awareness. Because you do it for so long, you don't even know that you're doing it. I mean, and you know what? And I know a lot of single moms can relate to this. When your spouse is out of the picture and you've been the weaker, people-pleasing one, it's like fight or flight with your kids. They are going to jump on your weaknesses. You are getting a crash course in boundary setting because you need that for them and they need you to be that. So it's like at the beginning for me, it comes to me naturally. It comes to me naturally to be the compassionate, people pleaser, empathetic. But when children who are having strong struggles with their own boundaries and rigidity, they need you to give them structure. They need you to set a strong boundary. They need to know what's okay and not okay. You've got to step up. And I've learned great things that have made a huge difference in my life with them.
Wow.
And it's translated to every area.
So when you were going through the separation, obviously the kids were going through it as well. Like, oh my God,
Yeah.
they probably, I almost feel like they go through it as much, if not more, than what we do.
And every age is different. Like
Yeah.
when we first started the process, my son was 3, and he had no idea what was going on. Oh, we're at mommy's. Oh, we're at daddy's.
He was
now,
3.
Yeah, now that he's
Whoa.
6, he's like, why aren't you and daddy living in the same house? Like it's hitting him now.
Yes.
Whereas when my eldest child was 8, she understood more than my other 2.
Yeah.
And she's having the hardest time.
The hardest. She was the eldest.
Because she was the eldest.
8.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And now she's
definitely.
11.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah, because has it been 3 years?
yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It's amazing
Yeah,
how
because
time
when we met,
flies.
it was a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But so much has happened, and like,
Gosh, for sure.
I literally, because for me, I've been happily, and I say happily, divorced for
That's how I
10
fell in love
years.
with you. When we got on the phone.
Yes, we were
and
online
I didn't even
for
know you were
Gina DeVee.
divorced. Yes. And when you said, I didn't even know you were a single mom or divorced or in that. I just
Yeah.
thought you were an awesome speaker.
Oh.
And when you said, no, I'm happily divorced, I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
We're
because
connected.
she
I
said
get it.
something like, "Oh, you're divorced," and I was like, "Oh, let me correct that." Because what happens is, I find, when I would say for a long time, I'm divorced or I'm going through a divorce, the first thing that happens, you can probably guess, the first reaction is, "Oh, I'm so sorry," or "Oh my goodness," or there was this like.
Not anymore though.
No.
In LA, it's so normal.
Really?
Yeah.
It still happens.
But people are like,
I
should I
find.
give you a high five? Like,
Yeah.
it's totally different now.
But when I say I'm happily
Yeah.
divorced,
Yeah.
immediately I get the high five.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's a different energy. It's
Yeah.
like, and I say that because it was, you and I have had some deep conversations about this.
Yeah.
It was one of, God's greatest gift for me.
I say all the time
Yeah.
that just like there's divinely inspired unions, there's divinely inspired separations.
Ooh.
In Judaism, getting
Ooh.
divorced is a good deed. Like if the family is no longer thriving, Judaism is for divorce.
Wow.
You know, and because you're not doing any favors to anyone. In fact, the fastest growing population to get divorced is empty nesters, meaning after the kids have graduated high school, then the parents say, now we can get divorced. And what's the first thing kids say? Why the hell did you wait so long? You weren't doing us a favor, So parents have this idea that I'll just stay for the kids. But then the kids are just having a front row seat to a really dysfunctional relationship.
We could sit here and talk about this for another 3 hours. That is so, what I witnessed and what I saw between my mom and dad affected me in ways, myself and all of my siblings, there's 6 of us all together, in so many ways that to this day, we are all feeling it like healing from what we witnessed, or trying to heal from what we've witnessed, like beyond what I could even express.
But you know what? We all have that.
Yeah.
You know, in the work I do with men and women from all different religions and backgrounds, the first 12, 13 years of our lives, we really have no control how we're raised.
Yeah.
We don't get to choose where we live, how we're parented, many choices. Yet we can spend the rest of our life trying to undo what we couldn't control.
Yes, yes.
And the truth is, I believe you, what you said. But if they had divorced, it could be another way. It's just
I work with youth. I've seen both.
You have to just get to the point where your parents did the best they could.
They gave you what they had.
What they could do with what they knew.
I know.
You know? I mean, it's so easy to say, if only they did this.
Yeah. Oh, no, and I would never. No.
You know?
No.
No, but it's
there are things that obviously we live with today.
Yeah.
You know, sorry, that affect, I mean, you know, I'm so beyond all of that in terms of my healing and where I'm at today. I wouldn't be able to do the work that I do if I wasn't, because I'd be out here leading while bleeding.
Yes. 100%.
If that wasn't the case. But, you know, one of the biggest things and how it affected me for so many years was, you know, my father was extremely physically abusive towards my mother. He beat her almost every day.
Wow.
He was a severe alcoholic, and I mean, it was so normal. It wasn't like, oh, is he gonna beat her again today? It was more like, oh, he didn't beat her today? That's how, that's how he lived.
Wow.
And I ended up at 14 getting into a relationship with someone who did the exact same. And I stayed in that relationship for 6 years. And he was literally like my father's twin. That's what I mean by how it affects you. Like from 14 to 21, I was in that relationship. Actually, Kina was conceived. My son was conceived out of that. So, you know, it was real, like very real, extremely abusive, like unbelievable kind of stuff that I look at today. I'm like, oh my God.
And it has nothing to do with intelligence.
I thought it was normal.
Yeah. You're wired to what you know. Because that's what you're familiar with.
I literally thought it was normal.
Yeah.
I thought that was love. I thought, you know, I met other guys when I was younger who weren't abusive, and, you know, verbally, physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever, and he was all of the above, but and I thought that they were abnormal. Yeah. The men who weren't like that. Yeah. I was like, oh, something's wrong with him. So that is how much it literally, you know, the influence that it had on my life. Yeah. It's actually mind-blowing when I look back on it now, and I, you know, being at the, you know, where I'm at today. Yeah. You know, mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. Yeah. I look back on it and I totally, I know 100%. And then, you know, in sharing that, I also say that even he gave me his best. You know, the reason why I'm able to, I would open my door today. If he knocked on my door and needed a place to stay, I'd feed him, I'd bathe him, because I know that it was all he saw as a child, and it was all he knew, and all, you know, his father did. Yeah. You know, all what he witnessed growing up. So I know he gave me his best. Yeah.
And I think why you've been able to transform and evolve is because you could have gone the other way. Yes. You could have gone and become bitter and a man-hater and perpetuated that whole cycle. I think the reason why you haven't is because your spirit remained open. You were open to something different, another perspective. You weren't rigid and this is all that there is. And that is the key to any happiness, is continuing to be open to something greater. Because that's what it's all about. That's what, you know, our higher being, our universe, or God, whatever you want to call it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we're meant to be to our full potential. And if you cap your own potential because you're afraid that there's nothing else out there, that's on you. You know, giving yourself permission to be open.
That is
what it's
on
about.
you.
Yeah.
You know, I always say, and I say this often when I'm speaking, especially when I'm speaking to youth, to teenagers, everything that happened to me and everything that I did, outside of what my father did, and I was too young to stop that, or too young to comprehend what was going on, everything that I did was, everything that I got into, every relationship I got into was a choice that I made.
Yeah. I think there is we need to redefine what it means to take responsibility of our choices. Because we're in this society of blame. I mean, look, we turn on the news, at least in America, there's no news network. There's just a network blaming the other side.
Oh,
you know, I mean, we live in a country where more than half the people hate our president.
Yeah.
And like many of them are like liberal who are doing yoga with the last line saying, be the solution that you want to see, but they do the opposite. They just bitch all day about and complain.
Yes.
And listen, any extreme isn't great. Any extreme right, any extreme left.
Yeah.
Every religion, every great health regimen preaches moderation.
Yeah.
We need to be center, and we need to be able to hear from both sides and to a place where we can agree to disagree and to say, you know what, I can take ownership for this part. I can see how you see that. And when someone says, you know what, I hear how you say that, it was not my intention at all, that's not why I said it, that person has to believe them. We can't just assume someone said something, they put their foot in their mouth, oh, they must be a racist. Or they must be this, they must be that. Because that separates us. You completely miss an opportunity for dialogue.
That separates us.
We are so afraid of offending each other, and we're in such extremes of blame, there's just no dialogue. So if there's no dialogue, there's no chance for growth. So it comes back to better communication. We need to instill that for our children. I'm literally reading a book now.
I saw
one of them.
Yes, I saw.
It's a
We're
classic.
using it as
It's a classic, and I'll tell you now, the principles apply whether you're talking to an adult relationship or a children's relationship.
Yeah.
It's called How to Talk So Children Will Listen, How to Listen So Children Will Talk. The same principles apply to your spouse relationship, your sister's relationship. We don't know how to listen anymore without getting triggered.
And there's also a difference. I just read this in a book that I was reading. There's a difference between listening and hearing.
Yeah.
And so what we should be striving for is to be hearing, not just listening.
Yeah.
And they break down the entire, like there's
and
a
another
science
way to
behind
say
it.
that is active listening.
Yes, active listening.
Yeah,
yes.
because you can just listen,
Oh, yeah.
And then literally you're just waiting for your chance to talk. You're not listening, you're listening for a pause.
I've caught myself doing that so many times.
Yeah, as opposed to, so what I'm hearing you say is blah.
Yes.
And then so that person feels heard and validated, because that's, as humans, that's all we want.
I have struggled with that, Danielle. That's been my Daniella.
It's been tough.
And that, I think it comes to like always and forever having to defend myself. And my son can tell you this. Anyone I'm in a relationship with, my sister can tell you this. It's active listening has been my thing because I have had to fight to be heard.
Yes.
For so many years.
I think that's the most common thing I find with women is that when they come to my groups and they realize they have a chance to speak and they start to speak, they literally start to cut themselves off, like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm taking too long. Oh, I'm sorry. Like, it's like,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take so much time.
I actually have a bowl in my table that's called the I'm sorry bowl. So every time someone says I'm sorry, they have to put $1 in, so they learn not to apologize.
So if you did this in Canada, I don't know if you know about Canadians, we say I'm sorry 50 times a day.
Wow.
That bowl would be full. We need to bring a bunch of Canadians here next time.
But especially as women, like, I'm sorry for taking the time to share my story.
You're right.
It's just,
right.
When you're coming out of a toxic relationship and you're so used to not having your voice heard, and then you all of a sudden have a platform to express yourself, it can be very difficult. It can be very difficult. And I think a lot of the times we do feel hard, at least I've experienced this personally, is you're so wired to be defensive, you know?
Ooh, that's me.
Because you're always blamed. You're always blamed.
Back there, he's pointing at me.
You know, because we're in this blame. So if you're hearing something that's not presenting who you think you are in a positive light, and you're a people pleaser, you're going to automatically want to defend yourself.
Oh, wow.
But when you're in a safe environment with healthy people, you don't always have to do that. It's like letting go of the defensiveness, and get into active listening, not personalizing everything someone's saying. It really might not be about you, which is crazy.
Usually it's not.
It's usually not. And I don't say that in a narcissistic way. That
No,
women think
I
it's all
get
about
it.
them.
I totally get it.
It's just like women tend to take it so personally.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't call them back, if someone this, they just think, what did I do? It really might not have anything to do
And
with
it comes back to the stories.
Mm-hmm.
The stories.
Yeah.
It's 100% connected, because even I will catch myself operating from a story.
Yeah.
Acting out from a story.
And that's just it. There's something powerful in NLP that we say.
NLP talks about that a lot. Yeah.
The story I'm telling myself is.
Yes.
And I had a girlfriend send to me, the story I'm telling myself is, I must have done something to offend you because you haven't returned any of my calls, and I don't know about our next event.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm so glad you told me. That is not the case at all. I think you're a phenomenal coach and human being.
Yeah.
The kids have just been out of camp. And I gave her this whole list of things. And she's like, I'm so glad I checked with you. But the fact that she was carrying that for so long, I'm glad she had the courage to say, the story I told myself was this.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we implemented that, if we taught our children to start talking like that to our spouses?
Yeah, in Landmark we call it the rackets.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're all rackets. There's stories and rackets.
Oh
Have you heard of Landmark
My-
Education?
My 2 daughters were in the Landmark weekend for kids.
No, they didn't.
Yes. I've never done Landmark,
What?
but my 8-year-old is like the racket.
She uses the...
Yeah, what's your perspective on it? You can be positive or negative.
Hold on. Did you just say your 8-year-old did it?
Yeah, she could teach the course, to be honest.
Daniella?
Yeah. No, she's like, she gets it. And she draws the 2 circles.
No, she doesn't.
Yeah, no, she does.
No. Yeah. That is amazing.
Yeah.
I've done the form 3 times.
Amazing. Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow. Yeah. Okay.
But it's all the same stuff. It's just packaged differently.
It is packaged differently.
And so let's tell them about our package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my last question before we get into our package, I want you in just like briefly, like whether it's like 2-3 sentences, 2-3 words.
Okay.
The power of community.
Well, for centuries and in every religion, there is the power of the women's circle specifically.
Yeah.
Where women come together, where it's around the moon, around their time of the month, around the fire. There is such a synergy that's created with women that cannot be replicated in any other shape or form.
No.
You can have a professional. I'm a professional, but I'm also a woman who's experienced divorce for the first time. When you have women from different ages and stages as backgrounds coming together when they otherwise would not know you from Adam. So there's no reason to put on airs. It's about authenticity and connection. You are getting unsolicited, direct, genuine, loving feedback. Whether it's something you need to hear because you don't want to see it, or something that you need to hear because you can't receive it.
Oh.
There's nothing more exponential in growth than the power of being a part of a group dynamic. And in terms of community, there's no reason to go through a huge life transition alone. Whether it's divorce or losing a child or losing a job or wanting to start over, whatever your transition is, when you come together in community and you're seeing people who are further along than you, who are just fresher than you, you put things into perspective and actually you leave with gratitude. You leave with gratitude because at the end of the day, we want our own problems back because we know how to handle them. We know the solutions for them.
Yes.
And to find the laughter, to find the fun and dysfunction. You can't go to one of my groups without hysterically laughing. I'm such a proponent of that. And people are making friendships. People are going on, they're finding friends to go to dinner with, to hang out with. And it just grows from there. And my women's group was so popular, it became a men's group, and it's just evolved. And we're just doing many different things, and look what we're doing now.
Which brings us to talk about it.
So Elizabeth and I, since the moment we met, we're like, we need to do something together. I mean, it didn't matter if she was in Canada and I was in LA. It was just going to happen because we see the world, and we come from totally different worlds, totally different backgrounds. Yeah. But how we are so aligned on so many things is so beautiful, and it just speaks to the spirit of our essence and the power of what a woman can do, blooming where she's planted. And we finally, guys, we're making it work.
The seeds were being planted all along.
Literally.
Yes, literally.
This is perfectly for blooming.
Yeah.
And, yes, the Seeds are being, it's time to bloom, ladies. It's time to bloom.
Yeah.
So save the date, mark your calendars.
Yes.
The second weekend in October,
Yeah.
Elizabeth and I, I'm going to be doing a 2-day workshop, and Elizabeth is going to be the guest speaker.
Yeah.
We are going to be doing amazing 2-day transformational event. It has everything from A to Z. What you need to know to bloom exactly where you're planted and create the life you love.
Exactly where you're planted.
Yeah.
So if you're coming out of a relationship, if you're healing from, you know, you've lost a loved one, you're overcoming a health crisis, whatever it is.
If you're still single and you feel like your life hasn't begun because you're a failure because you didn't meet the love of your life, whatever you're doing, whatever external circumstance that is your story that makes you feel limited or stuck in any way, we're going to clear that up for you. And we're going to give you your power back. We're going to give you your feminine energy back. And you're going to leave so inspired with such an amazing action plan. Not to mention you're going to be indulged in Los Angeles. We're going to cater to you. You're going to be fed. You're going to be massaged. You're going to have an amazing itinerary, which includes one of the best comedy shows in town. All you have to do is just show up.
Show up.
And let us take care of the rest.
Literally. And I want to say, and I will say that it will be, a transformational experience because we ourselves have experienced that transformation.
Yes.
And I think, and I know,
I know.
Yeah, I know that when you preach what you've lived, what you've survived, and what you've become, magic happens. We can call ourselves transformational speakers and coaches because we have transformed from one person to another, to another, to another.
Yes.
So no matter what you're going through, no matter what has happened, most likely we have survived. Between the both of us, we have survived. Like you said, we come from two completely different worlds. We've experienced that. So I'm super excited, especially for the itinerary. It's 2 full days. You will be spending a night in LA. Where we've got a list of Airbnbs, of local hotels. We've got everything planned out for you Bellas. So we're really excited. And if you were to say one thing that they're going to leave here with, what would that be?
Well, there's going to be so many things, but you're going to get your power back.
Yeah.
Really, that's what you're going to have. And when you get your power back, there's nothing you can't do.
You become
You're
unstoppable.
Yep.
Oh, you said it at the same time.
So it must be true.
Oh my gosh, Daniella.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I am so honored to be in this space with you. My son and I both here. You've treated us like your family.
Oh my God, anytime.
Yeah,
anytime.
Like literally.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to make this happen.
Yeah.
And so any last remarks or things you want to say?
I think there's a reason why people are turning towards coaches more than psychotherapists today, because they want people that they can relate to.
And you've done both.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I can put on both hats, but with all your work too. You've been through it, so there's an element of genuineness where you're coming as someone who's evolved. And both of us, we don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk. And if we can do it, you can do it. It really is true.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Awesome.
Oh my gosh. We want you all here. This is where the magic's going to happen, in this room and as well as outside. And,
you guys haven't even seen outside.
Yeah.
We'll show you that another time.
Yeah. Yes.
Actually, I did show them. I showed them when I was doing the intro.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
You guys got to see it. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, save the date, second week in October, and make a huge weekend out of it. Come to Hollywood, baby.
Yes, this is like life.
Yeah.
My soul belongs.
We really only
here.
have one life. We don't know what's going to happen next week. Stop waiting.
Stop
waiting for your life to begin. Boom. Boom. Bloom.